The story begins in a small, quiet town, one divided not just by geography but by deep-seated prejudice and misunderstandings. It's the kind of place where everyone knows everyone's business, or at least, they think they do. Two brothers, Marcus and Malik, have recently returned to this town after many years away. They're identical twins, inseparable in their bond, but each carrying their own quiet strength. Marcus is the more reserved of the two, often found with a book in hand or helping out at the local community center. Malik, on the other hand, is more outgoing, quick with a joke or a warm smile, and always encouraging the younger kids who come by their small fitness business. Together, they've started building a life here, focusing on helping the community and staying out of trouble. They've kept their past hidden, blending into the town as if they've always been ordinary men. But not everyone in this town sees them for who they are. A local gang, led by a man named Cole, watches them from the shadows with disdain. To them, Marcus and Malik are outsiders, individuals who don't know their place. The twins' quiet confidence and growing influence in the community rub Cole the wrong way. It starts with whispers, snide comments made in their absence, and sideways glances in the streets. The tension is subtle but undeniable, a simmering fire waiting to ignite. Meanwhile, glimpses of the twins' past flash through their minds. In moments of solitude, Marcus remembers the intense training, the silent swims in enemy waters, and the bonds forged under fire. Malik recalls the missions, the times they defied the odds, and the honors they received. Their shared past as Navy SEALs is a part of them they've chosen to leave behind, a story they believe the town doesn't need to know. For them, this is a fresh start, a chance to live a life of peace after years of unimaginable chaos. But peace isn't something they'll get to enjoy for long. Cole and his gang begin their campaign of intimidation. At first, it's petty vandalism, graffiti on their building, slashed tires, whispers of something more sinister to come. The twins notice but choose not to react, their calm demeanor a shield against the provocations. They've faced worse before, after all. They've been in situations where a single misstep could cost lives. This, they think, is nothing. As the days pass, the twins' resilience begins to unsettle Cole and his crew. Why aren't they reacting? Why aren't they fighting back? The gang's hatred grows, fueled by their own insecurities and assumptions. They see Marcus and Malik as targets, men who need to be put in their place. What they don't see, what they can't see, is the storm that lies beneath the surface. If you're curious to see how this story unfolds and what happens when two highly trained warriors are pushed too far, make sure to subscribe to my channel and follow for the next chapter. This story is about more than action, it's about courage, restraint, and the strength it takes to face hate without losing yourself. Stay tuned, and I promise you won't want to miss what's coming next. The harassment begins to escalate. What started as vandalism and veiled threats turns into more overt intimidation. One day, Marcus and Malik return to their business to find not just graffiti but hateful slurs painted across the walls. Another day, Malik's car is found with all 4 tires slashed, and a note stuffed under the windshield wiper reads, "Go back to where you came from." The twins remain calm, choosing not to react outwardly. Marcus, with his steady demeanor, tells Malik to let it go. "We've been through worse," he says, his voice firm but quiet. Malik, while frustrated, agrees. They've spent years mastering discipline, honing their ability to stay composed under pressure. This is no different, or so they believe. But the gang sees their silence as weakness. To Cole and his crew, the twins' refusal to fight back feels like an invitation, a challenge to push further. The gang begins shadowing them, following them in trucks with tinted windows, revving their engines loudly whenever the twins are nearby. The atmosphere in the town starts to shift. People begin to notice the tension, but no one speaks up. Some are too afraid of the gang, while others quietly harbor the same prejudices. One evening, as the sun sets and the streets grow quiet, the gang makes their move. Marcus and Malik are closing up their gym for the night when they notice several trucks pull into the empty parking lot. The headlights cut through the darkness, casting long, menacing shadows. Cole and his men step out, their faces twisted with smug confidence. They're armed with bats, chains, and the kind of arrogance that comes from thinking they've already won. Marcus and Malik exchange a glance, a silent conversation passing between them. It's the kind of communication that only brothers, and perhaps teammates in life-or-death situations, could have. Malik sighs, shaking his head slightly. Marcus gives a barely perceptible nod. They had hoped it wouldn't come to this. Cole steps forward, his voice loud and mocking. Look at you two. Big, tough guys, huh? Think you're better than us? He spits on the ground, a sneer curling his lip. You don't belong here. We're gonna make sure you understand that tonight. The twins remain still, their faces unreadable. Malik raises his hand slightly, a gesture of calm. We don't want any trouble, he says evenly. Cole laughs, a harsh, grating sound. Too late for that. He signals his men, and they begin to circle the twins, closing in. The first swing comes from one of the gang members, a wild, sloppy move with a bat aimed at Marcus. With a speed and precision that seem almost inhuman, Marcus steps aside, grabbing the bat mid-swing and yanking it out of the man's hands. The gang freezes for a moment, startled. What happens next is a blur of controlled, calculated motion. Marcus and Malik move with the kind of efficiency that only comes from years of grueling training and countless missions. They don't just fight, they neutralize. Every swing of a bat, every attempt to grab or punch them is met with a counter so precise, it's as if they're choreographing the fight in real time. One gang member lunges at Malik with a chain, but Malik disarms him in seconds, the chain clattering to the ground. Marcus takes on two attackers at once, using their own momentum against them, sending them crashing into each other. The sounds of fists meeting flesh, grunts of pain, and the thud of bodies hitting the pavement fill the air. Despite their obvious skill, the twins never escalate the fight beyond what is necessary. They don't throw the first punch, and they don't use excessive force. Their movements are controlled, their expressions calm. This isn't a brawl, it's a demonstration of discipline and restraint. As the fight continues, it becomes clear to the gang that they've made a grave mistake. Their numbers, their weapons, their aggression, none of it matters against opponents like Marcus and Malik. The twins dismantle their bravado piece by piece, leaving them battered and humiliated. Finally, Cole finds himself alone, his men groaning on the ground around him. He stares at the twins, his bravado evaporating. What the hell are you? He spits, his voice shaking. Malik steps forward, his gaze steady. We told you we didn't want trouble, he says, his voice calm but carrying an edge of steel. Marcus adds, but you made your choice. Cole stumbles backward, fear replacing his earlier arrogance. The twins don't chase him, they don't need to. The message has been sent. As Cole scrambles back to his truck, the twins turn away, their expressions unreadable. The parking lot falls silent, save for the groans of the gang members slowly picking themselves up. Marcus and Malik walk back to their gym, their movements unhurried, as if nothing out of the ordinary has happened. Inside, Malik exhales deeply, running a hand over his face. Think that's the end of it? Marcus doesn't answer immediately. He looks out the window, watching as the trucks peel away into the night. Finally, he says, no. But now they know who they're dealing with. The brothers clean up and lock the doors, the night around them still and quiet once more. But in their minds, they know this isn't over, not yet. The past they've worked so hard to leave behind has a way of catching up, no matter how fast or far you run. The night after the ambush, the town is buzzing. News of what happened in the parking lot spreads like wildfire, though the details are muddled by rumors. Some say the twins fought off the gang with superhuman strength. Others claim they were armed, though no one has any proof. Everyone agrees on one thing: Cole and his crew walked, or limped, away humiliated. The twins return to their routine, acting as though nothing has changed. They open their gym, greet neighbors, and quietly go about their business. But beneath the surface, the fallout has already begun. Cole, bruised and seething, can't let the incident go. He knows he and his gang were outmatched, but his pride won't let him back down. He starts digging for information about the twins, determined to find something, anything, to use against them. What Cole uncovers shocks him. Through a friend with military connections, he learns the truth: Marcus and Malik aren't just ordinary men. They're Navy SEALs, and not just any SEALs, they're among the most decorated in U.S. history. Their service records are filled with classified missions, commendations, and tales of bravery that sound almost mythical. Cole realizes he didn't just pick a fight with two men, he challenged warriors who faced threats far more dangerous than anything he could imagine. This revelation shakes Cole to his core. He becomes paranoid, convinced the twins will come after him. His gang begins to splinter, some members leaving out of fear, others because they're tired of following a leader who led them into disaster. The once dominant gang starts to crumble, its power diminished. Meanwhile, the twins' past comes to light in the community. At first, it's just whispers. Then a local reporter writes a piece about them, detailing their service and the honors they've received. The article paints them as heroes, though the twins themselves remain silent, refusing to comment. They've never sought attention or recognition, and they aren't about to start now. The town's perception of the twins begins to shift. Those who once dismissed them as outsiders now see them in a new light. Some approach them with newfound respect, while others feel uneasy, unsure of how to reconcile the quiet men they thought they knew with the warriors they truly are. The tension in the town begins to dissipate, but not everyone is ready to let go of their prejudice. One evening, Marcus and Malik are invited to speak at a community event. Reluctant at first, they eventually agree, seeing it as an opportunity to address the undercurrent of hatred and fear that has plagued the town. Standing before the crowd, Marcus speaks first, his voice steady and calm. "We came back here because we wanted a quiet life. We wanted to help build a community, not divide it. But we've seen what hate can do. We've seen it tear people apart, destroy families, and ruin lives. It's easy to hate someone you don't understand. It's harder to look at them as a person, to see them for who they really are." Malik steps forward, his tone more impassioned. "We didn't want trouble, and we didn't come here to fight. But let me be clear, we've spent our lives protecting this country, protecting people who couldn't protect themselves. We've seen the cost of violence, and we've seen the power of unity. This town doesn't have to be divided. You don't have to live in fear of each other." The twins' words resonate with the crowd. Some people are visibly moved, while others sit in silence, reflecting on their own biases. The event marks a turning point for the town. Conversations that had been avoided for years are finally being had, and bridges that seemed impossible to build begin to take shape. As for Cole, he retreats into the shadows, his influence over the town gone. The twins never seek revenge or retribution. They don't need to. Their actions have already spoken louder than words ever could. In the weeks and months that follow, the town begins to change. The twins' gym becomes a hub for the community, a place where people from all walks of life come together. Marcus and Malik take on mentorship roles, working with at-risk youth and showing them a different path. They know better than anyone that strength isn't just physical, it's about character, discipline, and the choices you make. The story ends on a quiet, reflective note. One evening, as the sun sets over the town, Marcus and Malik sit on the porch of their small home, watching the world go by. For the first time in a long while, there's peace, not just in their surroundings, but within themselves. They came back to this town seeking a fresh start, and though the journey was far from easy, they've found what they were looking for. Not just peace, but purpose. The sun sets over the small town, casting warm hues of orange and gold across the horizon. The evening is still, the kind of calm that comes after a storm has passed. Marcus and Malik stand on a modest stage in the town square, surrounded by a crowd of people. It's a mix of familiar faces, neighbors, community members, and even a few who had once been silent bystanders to the prejudice they endured. The event had been organized as a gesture of unity, a chance for the town to heal and move forward. At first, Marcus and Malik had been hesitant to speak, but now, standing in front of the crowd, they know this is their moment to say what needs to be said. Marcus steps forward, gripping the microphone firmly but with a calmness that seems to steady the air around him. He takes a moment, looking out at the faces in the crowd. Some are eager, others hesitant, and a few still guarded. He begins speaking, his voice low and steady, carrying the weight of someone who has seen more than most can imagine. When we came back to this town, we came with no expectations. We weren't looking for attention or recognition. We came here for peace, to start over. To contribute, quietly, to a place we thought we could call home. What we didn't expect was to become a target. Not for what we'd done, but simply for who we are. He pauses, letting his words sink in, before continuing. In our years of service, we've seen the worst humanity has to offer. We've faced enemies who didn't see us as people, who would do anything to destroy what we stood for. But do you know what kept us going? What gave us the strength to keep fighting? It wasn't hate. It wasn't anger. It was the belief that what we were doing mattered. That protecting people mattered. That standing up for what's right, even when it's hard, even when it's painful, is always worth it. The crowd is silent, hanging on his every word. Marcus steps back slightly, and Malik steps forward, his energy a sharp contrast to Marcus's quiet intensity. Some of you probably heard what happened a few weeks ago, Malik says, his voice firm but not accusatory. And maybe some of you have questions about who we are, about what we've done. So let me tell you. Yes, we're Navy SEALs. Yes, we've been in situations most people can't imagine. But we're not here to talk about that. Because it's not about the medals or the missions. It's about what those experiences taught us. He looks directly at a young man standing near the front, someone who had once been part of Cole's gang but has since distanced himself. What we learned is that strength isn't about being the loudest or the toughest. It's not about picking fights or proving a point. Real strength is about restraint. It's about knowing when to walk away, when to stand your ground, and when to lend a hand to someone who needs it. Malik's voice grows softer, but it carries no less weight. Hate is easy. It's lazy. It takes no effort to hate someone because they look different or think different or live differently than you do. But understanding? That takes work. It takes courage. It takes sitting down with someone and seeing them for who they really are, not who you assume them to be. Marcus steps forward again, standing beside his brother. Together, they face the crowd, their presence commanding but not intimidating. We didn't fight back that night to prove a point or to show off, Marcus says. We fought back because we had no choice. But what we hope you see now is that violence isn't the answer. It never has been. It might solve a problem in the moment, but it leaves scars, on your body, on your mind, on your soul. Malik adds, this town has a choice. You can keep letting fear and hate divide you, or you can do the hard thing. You can choose to listen to each other. To work together. To build something better. And if we can play a small part in helping make that happen, then everything we've been through will have been worth it. The twins share a glance, a silent exchange of understanding, before Marcus delivers the final words. We're not here to be heroes. We're here to be part of this community, just like everyone else. But if you take one thing away from what we're saying tonight, let it be this: the only way forward is together. No one gets through this life alone. So let's stop fighting each other and start fighting for each other. As they step back, the crowd erupts into applause. It's not just polite clapping, it's genuine, heartfelt, and sustained. People rise to their feet, some with tears in their eyes, others with a newfound sense of purpose. As the applause dies down, Marcus and Malik quietly step off the stage. They don't linger in the spotlight, slipping into the crowd to shake hands, exchange words, and connect with the people they've come to care about. Before you go, if you've been moved by this story, by the lessons of resilience, courage, and the power of unity, make sure to subscribe to this channel and follow for more stories like this. There's so much more to explore, so many lessons to learn from the struggles and triumphs of others. Together, we can keep sharing stories that inspire, challenge, and bring people closer. Stay connected, and let's keep moving forward together.